Thank you so much. Thanks to all the speaker. Very good afternoon. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for coming in for this session. I would also like to thank you to all our lovely audience who are going to be part of this session. Right, so I think we have all the speakers pinned in here. That's what we were trying to be having that done, having all of you on one screen. Great. Thanks again. Again, I welcome all the leaders here to our roundtable discussion of Horizon 2023. Thank you so much for taking out time and joining us over this session. I will start with a quick round of introduction from my end, and of course, will introduce all of you. And the questions are going to be open to all of you to share your thoughts around it. My name is Anushri Prakash, and I'm AVP Sales at Herky. I have a total experience of about 15 years. I have worked with multiple organizations when it comes to diversity hiring requirement. I'm very happy to also support a lot of organizations when it comes to the returnee program because that remains the topic of discussion for this session. So before we definitely talk about more, I take this opportunity to introduce all of you. However, in your capabilities, please add from more that what you have been doing, what's your expert areas while you talk about yourself and your organization policies. So again, now thank you so much. We have Aarati, Salvi, Manager People Capabilities and Business Partner Mastercard, Ajay Krishnankutty, Head TA APAC, DNI Leader, Siemens Healthineers, Bhavana Murthy, Senior Manager TA Visa, Harsha Bhosale, Diversity Recruiting Leader Japan and Asia Pacific, Oracle India Private Limited, Jalpa Ajmera, Account Manager Enterprise Sales Cisco, Neha Malhotra, Senior Manager Talent Acquisition dunnhumby, Ruchika Sinha, Director Human Capital Myntra, Shubha Sharath, Senior Director Program Delivery Epsilon, Suhena Deb Rathor, Regional HR East Green Lamb Industry Limited, and Urvashi Verma, Head Talent Acquisition, APAC Xperi. Thank you again, all of you, for joining in. Now, I will quickly talk about the topic and then come to the questions where we hear all of you talking more about it. Now, how can corporate India create pathways for women returning to workforce? According to an annual DNI survey conducted by Herky, 64% of the companies have specific target for returning women. A step Okay, sorry. Hiring returnee women. I would like to specify that. A step in the right direction, but still a long way to go. Let's deep dive into measures and policies and programs that will enable women to make a strong comeback after the career break. Along with this, uh, going to our first question. So we have divided the entire question in three main sections, which is returning to women, challenges and opportunities, the skill gap and how to address this, and of course the workforce flexibility. Talking about the first question, the DNI survey shows progress in hiring returnee women, but the challenges persist. What are the three main challenges that you see? I think I would definitely request maybe Urvashi to start with this, and I can have other leaders also joining in for this. Yeah, please.
Sure. Thanks, Anushri. Yes, definitely there is a lot of work is happening towards returning women to workforce and providing a lot of opportunities to them. But still, after all these efforts, we see some major gaps. And in my perspective, the top three, challenges what we are facing is pay parity as first, because still so many research reports says that women are behind 20% of pay packages as compared to their male colleagues, and women returnee are further lesser than that. So there is a lot of biasness coming in when we are talking about pay parity and other opportunities for returning women. Secondly, is about work flexibility. Most of the organizations thinks that women who are returning back, they require a lot of flexibility because they took break for some major reasons or some major activities going on in their personal life, and they still want to cater that, which is true. But when women are talking about work flexibility, they are not asking for lowering down the quality of work or the quantity of work, but they want to distribute their work time throughout the day. Maybe they cannot spend 8 hours in a stretch, but 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours, like that, they can support their organization in that. Thirdly, what I think that is, very less representative of women at the leadership level. Many women drop their career in between for various reasons, and that's resulting in very less representation of, women in leadership. Though we are not able to mention the challenges, the right challenges women are facing, and there is not much attention given to what kind of flexibility or the right attitude from the organization, because they are not aware of what is happening in, women's life and women's career, how they are collaborating at personal level and professional level to maintain both. So having less role model is also a challenge where we are not able to, provide the right kind of support to returnee women. That's my views.
Great, thank you so much. Neha, would you like to add there?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I echo with what Urvashi is saying. I think those are very hot topics. When we start looking at, women returners as a program, these are certain challenges we talk as a top two, three things which come to everyone's mind. I am talking from a little different perspective, and mainly because, dunnhumby as an organization has started this process very recently. We're still in the second year of running this program. The topmost challenge that we faced was definitely acceptability of the program. So, making sure that our teams are inclusive and they are able to see why we are contributing or investing in this program. So, I think that was one where a lot of effort had to be put in. The second big challenge that I saw was also the talent pool. So, women being ready for, expressing and telling what they are bringing to the table confidently. And we had to invest in them, making sure that, multiple people are speaking to them, bringing up their confidence level up before putting them to the technical panel. I think those were two big challenges that we faced when we started and now in the second year of the program. So that's a little different perspective from what Urvashi was saying, but that's a big challenge for us.
So thanks, Neha. Aarti, would you like to add there?
Sure. So I'll just add on, to Neha's point, and I do echo what Neha and Urvashi has mentioned in terms of the challenges. Mastercard has evolved. We started this journey much ahead, and then recently we have realized that whatever investments that we are doing in the returnship programs are actually providing us a green shoot. One of the challenge that we faced earlier, and I was just going through a research by Zinnov Studies as well, that highlighted that the programs fizzle out while we have a lot of energies that we pump in while we are doing hiring and taking the business minds, but then eventually the hand holding that is required when the person is onboarded, that is a phase where we actually have to spend a lot of time, as Neha rightly pointed out, that having a mentor in their life, giving them a right direction in terms of building that confidence is something which we see, and that is the reason why most of the organization has gone back to the drawing boards, and then they are just rethinking on what they can do better. I think one thing that worked well for Mastercard was a robust boot camp, a structured induction process where we have actually aligned a mentor and a buddy in the very initial stage of their careers when they are rejoining the professional journey. That help. I think that is one challenge which I foresee can be built on. Over to you.
Sure. Bhavana, yeah, please.
Hi, I can really resonate with what both Neha and Aarti spoke about. I think while one is access to the talent pool, the other is also ensuring that whatever talent is available, how do we ensure that they're sort of showcasing themselves to the right audience, right? And also as they come on board, I think Aarti referenced how it was important to have a buddy and a mentor. And both of these were people, I think, first of all, Visa's at a fairly nascent stage ourselves, right? So one of the things that we're planning for is ensuring that these buddy and the mentor, they have a network of their own, is sort of ensuring that they come together as a cohort every fortnight and make sure that they're getting the support that they need to enable this cohort of women that we're bringing in as returnees. The other piece also is, I think, while there's a lot of focus on the hiring piece, I don't know if there's enough focus on the engagement, retention, and growth pieces. And I think that's equally important for each of us as professionals to speak about, right? So that's, I think, also the areas where organizations need to focus on to bring success for the returnees.
Yeah, sure. Harsha, I'm sure you would have something to add here.
Absolutely. I've been definitely waiting to add something here. And it's great to hear what most of the organizations are doing, and absolutely everything is valid in this subject. But what I would like to say in a very neutral fashion on behalf of the returnees as well as an organization is developing contemporary skills, right? More than the actual technical skills, understanding the work around with a multi-generational workforce could be one of the typical challenges that returnees as well as the organization would have to onboard or to bring returnees back to work. Now, I'm saying neutral because a returnee could be anybody, right? Now, those are the skills and the learning that can't be kept standard. The folks who are actually working on this upskilling kind of programs that we all heard from various companies, they need to have a very contemporary and inclusive mindset. And I may be sounding like a very like a huge DNI flag bearer, but I will keep saying that because we cannot just assume that somebody who is a returnee is coming from a certain background, a certain mindset, a certain gender, and cannot assume that they are not a person with a disability, they do not have a certain background, they do not have a veteran background, they are not a veteran spouse or anything, right? So we must have a returnee program that is much deep-rooted and is giving someone a job opportunity that is skilling them much beyond all of these approaches. So that's what organizations are doing today. And I am really proud to say that, our organization is trying to get into all of those aspects, right? What is most required is for the right people to be there, involved, and look at being a change maker. Because one way of looking at returnees is that I am glad to be back to work. But for the organization, it is that I am bringing a highly motivated individual who is preparing or is prepared to take up challenges. And we have seen this, that time and again, that this is all very true. So yeah, I just thought that I'll add this. And I was listening into everybody that all of this may actually make so much of a change in this world, right? So yes, thank you.
Great, thanks, Harsha. Ajay, would you like to add there? Yeah, we come back to you. Shubha, maybe you would like to add there. Right.
Sure. So it's very heartening to see what organizations across the board are doing today in terms of, welcoming the returning women. Organizations today are taking obviously a step in the right direction with very focused D&I efforts, and returning women are very much part of it, like we've heard, from the other speakers. The three challenges from my perspective: skill relevance, supportive policies and flexible programs, and the challenge, there are two aspects to it. One, from the organization perspective, like some of them already mentioned, unconscious bias, and the other one from the returnee women, which is lack of confidence. Right? Skills and confidence is a catch-22 situation. Statistics show that 27% of the tech workforce are women, and it goes without saying that it's way too low. So be it men or women, today's tech force have to double their efforts, triple it to keep up with the changing technology. So with the career break, it becomes all the more challenging. So at Epsilon, in order to overcome the three challenges that I mentioned, we have a program called She Rises. It's a 6-month program where the returning women are offered a paid contract role to help further their skills. They're then hired as full-time employees of Epsilon based on their performance. So we've received some very positive feedback from the returning women for this program, and we've been recognized in the industry as one of the top 20 companies with the most innovative practices for women returnee programs. Over to you, Anu.
Sure, thanks for adding that. Ruchika, I think you will have something to add there, please.
Yes, I do. So I think I'm largely aligned to a lot of the challenges that were coming in. But there was one thing that I wanted to add. So when we are talking of skills, etc., it is true that, when you are away from the workplace, sometimes the technology might have moved on, or, new tools might have come into the system while you were away. But I think one of the things that traditionally has worked for us is looking at neighboring skill sets or foundational skill sets. So when you are getting a person back to the workplace, don't look for a line by line fit of the JD, but you essentially look for some of the skills or the competencies that are absolutely basic to the work, and then skills that can be built upon in the course of the period. So I think that traditionally enhances the talent pool for us. The second piece of what I also wanted to say was, we talk of confidence when a person comes back to the workforce, and when they've stayed away even for 6 months, when they've stayed away and they come back, there is that sense of feeling overwhelmed. There can be that sense of feeling, am I doing the right thing by coming back? There are questions that only a person who has also undergone that scenario understands. And I think hiring women in cohorts for a returnship program has traditionally worked well, because then they become each other's cheerleaders and then they navigate each other through that journey. So I think that part has traditionally worked well with us in terms of the challenge of the person coming and then being able to thrive in that environment again, not just coming in and surviving, but really thriving. I think giving them that environment, people mentioned mentorship, people mentioned buddies, but also peer networking and being able to talk to other people who are in the same boat, I think has traditionally worked very well for us.
Great. Ajay, I think we have you back, if you can add in here. Sorry, Ajay, you're still not audible. Sorry, we are not able to hear you. Sure. So while we are trying to figure that, now continuing to the challenges and the opportunity when it comes, and although we have also worked with a lot of organization and we come across this, are there enough opportunities for women to get back to workforce after the break, particularly if the break is longer than 12 to 18 months? Like generally, if you have the maternity break, yes, we do see a lot of returnees. But when the break is longer, how the opportunities are, or if you would like to add something there. Bhavana, maybe we can start from you.
Sure. Yes. I think there was somebody who, Harsha, I think, spoke about how there's always a skill gap which could happen if, especially for the technology hires, if we're bringing them in after an 18 to 24-month gap. Yes, definitely a challenge. But I think today organizations are aware of these challenges. We're able to enable the cohorts that we bring in with training, with with on-the-job assignments, which sort of bridge that gap and bring them up to speed. So are we in a situation where we're, like we were, let's say, a decade ago, where we said we don't want to consider women on a break? I think as an industry, we've come a long way ahead, but there are definitely still opportunities, right? Can we, even prior to hiring them, give them sort of bridge content to go through, or prepare them as they come in, even for the baseline training that we can give them? I think that's definitely an opportunity for organizations, one. But on the other hand, organizations are also accepting and are enabling women on a break to come back, even if it's more than 18 to 24 months today, Anu. So I think yes, we are aware that these are sort of the skills that we need to move them up to, but we're also sort of, I think, ensuring that we hire women who have that baseline before we can proceed. So I think it's a mix of what we can do better and what we've already done better. We're on a journey, but we've already come a long way as well.
Sure. Neha, would you like to add there?
Yeah, and I agree with, Bhavna. I think there's definitely awareness. There's lots of talks. 5 years back, I think if somebody a recruiter used to tell a hiring manager, "Oh, there's a resume who's had a break, would you want to consider?" I think it was outrightly rejected, saying that, we have better candidates in the pipeline. Now, at least that acceptance has come in. Oh, yes, why don't we talk to the candidate and give an opportunity and see what they've learned? We are definitely on a journey. Are we agreeing that we'll take all women returners? No, we have not reached that stage. But definitely I see that, and it's a fact-based thing I'm talking about. I've seen that a women returner who's coming back after 18-24 months versus someone who's come back to us after 10 years, I see more seriousness in someone who's come back to us after a long break, because they've invested in themselves. They know there's a longer gap. They will have to prove themselves. They will, and they stick more. The longevity of them is also higher compared to someone who's 12 to 18 months. But yeah, I mean, what I'd say is it also depends on which skill set we're hiring for, which, what role are you looking for. So there's definitely acceptance, and but there's long way to go is how I look at it.
Sure, good to know that, Neha. Aarti, yes, please, if you can know from you.
Sure. So I think, the COVID was blessing for the returnship program, especially, the back to work programs for women has been in a spotlight, and thanks to the organizations like you guys are doing a lot of awareness in terms of, how we can leverage this untapped talent. And that awareness has really helped the organization to build on their thought process, saying that we do have this particular talent pool available. How do we leverage that? Earlier, I believe if I can talk 5 years prior, then it was more on an IT industries we were focusing on. But now when I'm talking to various industries, I'm very glad to share that even manufacturing industries are now thinking towards getting the returnees back. How we can leverage their talent. They are upskilling themselves and they wanted to contribute more. So I think there are opportunities, and thanks to the awareness that all of us, including you guys, are doing, which has brought that traction. And also, I was also hearing that pay parity. I think that is also getting bridged very well. So there is an opportunity. It's upon us how we are tapping it.
Right, I think very correctly mentioned, it is just not one industry is doing it, right? Or it's across industry, and possibly the industry where we never thought that that's possible, right? But we are serving them, right? So that's how we know about it. Yeah, Urvashi, please, if you can add there, please.
Yeah, I'm totally aligned with what everybody else has said. Just to add here that I think that across industry, we are realizing the importance of non-tech skills, which is required along with your technical skills, like, leadership, planning, and plus definitely commitment to work. Those skills are more encouraged, and then companies are ready to spend in upskilling the returnee, and make sure that they are aligned with the latest technology. They get proper training on the technical stuff to get the things done. But the softer skill, what they are bringing, is also adding a lot of value in the role and in the organization. And thus, to utilize those skills, many companies are creating roles for the returnees where they can utilize them. So yes, definitely there are opportunities coming up. Organizations are creating opportunities, and I think in future we will be having more opportunities for returning women.
Sure, that's good to know, Urvashi. Jalpa, yeah, if you would like to add here.
Yes. What I'd like to say here is, how this returnee kind of discussion is back on the table. Also a lot to do with the generation today, right? Today, what I'm trying to say is a lot of people are okay with taking a sabbatical, taking a break from career, going back to studies, scaling themselves to newer things, learning newer things may or may not relevant to their career alone, but to personal development as well. So you in Cisco, we are also running this program of training the interviewer in terms of how do you cut the biasness when you're interviewing somebody. Which is also important because it's not only the HR or the recruitment team's responsibility to get diversity into the company. Everybody who's associated in terms of the hiring manager, the colleagues, the cross-functional teams need to understand why diversity is important. And why I feel a lot of things have become acceptable in terms of a break in a resume. Earlier, a lot of resumes wouldn't reach us if there is a break, right? Today, a lot of resumes come to us saying, there are a lot of things you learn when you're on a break as well. So which kind of paves way of getting all these returnees kind of back into the whole ecosystem as well. So yes, agree with a lot of things most of the women have kind of said here. But I still feel biasness needs to cut across at each level, A lot of times, you hear from, say, a colleague who's a good friend and would be like, oh, why do you have to worry? Your husband's earning as well. You're just doing this job just to kill time. And that's not what
you want to kind of create that awareness among your peers as well, that women are serious about their careers and they also want to achieve something in life. That's
Yeah,
it.
very correctly mentioned. It is just not limited to the maternity break, right? So it's
Absolutely.
break required for any other reason, right? So Harsha, yes, if you would like to add here.
Yes, Anushri. So yes, one thing that I would like to say is that, and this may be a little different from what we all are hearing, that when you have programs which are gender inclusive, like and I'm going to say this, that the returnship program that Oracle is, the career returnship program that we have, the Oracle relaunch program, is open to all genders. It's not only for women. So why I'm saying this is, when you have encouraging programs like this, and even when we know that the returnee market, and this is all because it's not only India, but how the world's culture has been. There are more women returnees in the world than any other gender. And I'm saying this because that's how the statistics, even at the leadership level and everywhere else, is. But even if there is a small number of men or the other genders in the other side, we still have to include everybody. When we include, we know that we are respecting and bringing the support from everybody together. And that's how the support is coming in, and that's how there is opportunity. And that's the answer that I would like to give you, that there is, yes, opportunity, and that support is bringing a lot of support from our leadership. There is a great sponsorship that is coming in for us to create this program with a very, very strong support from everybody. And that is not only from the leaders, but from everyone around. So because if you create a program like this, support from leadership alone is not enough. Support from everyone who is watching. Even if we post a job posting on LinkedIn or social media, everybody is watching that. When it is open to everybody, that means we know that we mean what we are trying to do. We are bringing in more roles, which are, where there is upskilling. This program is open for all genders. This program is a full-time opportunity for anybody who wants to apply. So yes, when I'm saying yes, today's world is about creating diverse opportunities. So that means it also says valuable skills. Valuable skills does not mean a cookie cutter approach that I need XYZ skills, C++, Java, etc. Yes, we need all that. And we need to be relevant in terms of skills, but we need to be relevant in terms of doing your job as well. And what I heard from Urvashi, which absolutely made sense, that we really need to bring the value to the role rather than having the exact skill match. So that's what, as a sum of everybody's, whatever was said here in this forum, I just wanted to say this towards the end. It's good that I get a chance towards the end so that I can sum it up with something which is a little different. So yes, that's what I wanted to say.
So there's no end to such discussions, Harsha. I come to all the leaders who have raised the hand, but to continue that, what a lot of you have mentioned about how important from a reskilling point or skilling point, upskilling point. So skill relevancy is a very vital thing to have the smooth transition of comeback. So of course, as you say more about your experience and the policies and the program, what strategies the business have adopted to assess the returnee skill and offer the relevant training to ensure it really matches to the evolving demand. So I think Ajay, if you'd like to add there, I hope we are able to hear you now.
All right, I think third time would be the charm, I guess. Divya, I'm assuming you can hear me now.
Yes, please.
So Divya, thanks so much, and thanks for the invite into this the event which is happening now. So few things actually. One, the one which I was trying to express earlier, right, when we were planning to run this program, and we started this program almost like 2 years back within Healthineers. Our initial submission to the business was very simple. If somebody is coming as a returnee program, treat like it is somebody who was in your team, who went for a break, and then bring them back into the business. So expect the same kind of welcome that is given to your own people when you are actually getting somebody from the external market, right? From a training standpoint of view, and that is where the most issues come. And I know it is predominantly the skill gap that we are trying to solve in this entire program. We actually kind of give that skill gap, or rather the managing the skill gap and coming up with the right training framework to the business. So we don't actually kind of govern that from an HR standpoint of view. We give them the right framework, and because each role would definitely have its own nuances, and we practically give that open hand for the business to come up with their own training curriculum for the program. But we do, from an HR standpoint of view, give them a proper framework. We don't define also timelines. We never tell that your program has to be only 2 months or 3 months, because each training has got its own longevity. And people also have different timelines for training. Not everybody can engage with a 2 month or a 3 month. So generally, when we are in Siemens running these kind of programs, we don't keep an end date to the program from an overall training standpoint of view. And those are predominantly given to the business to make the decisions.
Great. Shubha, would you like to add on those strategies from your end as well?
Sure. So at Publicis Epsilon, we have a custom-made AI platform called Marcel with a suite of features and services designed to connect the 80,000 creative minds of Publicis Group across the globe. So it's a place where talents can learn, share, and create. And internal available jobs are also posted and employees can apply. So a career switch is just a click away for employees. Then follows the learning and development programs, both from external and internal trainers. There's, of course, online, offline trainings that are available. And one other thing that we also do at Epsilon is extended learnings and degrees. The organization then pays for it to help employees upskill. I think giving them that 6-month time that like we have in the She Rises program to upskill benefits both the individual and the organization. I think this is the right expectations that are set, and the expectation is not to hit the ground running on day 1, week 1, or month 1. And this is a key aspect of the program, and we've received a lot of good feedback from the returning women because of this program. Over to you, Anu.
Thanks. So Hannah, would you like to add here?
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, everybody. So I was listening to a lot of nice inputs from everybody. I have a background from the manufacturing industry completely, and sorry to say, but the situation here is not that great as of yet for returning women. Though things are better than before. We are hiring people from who has a gap maybe in their career, or people who have been into maternity breaks and have come back to work with us, and we are giving them a transition period to gain back the kind of gaps that they have faced for the time that they were not here, and we give them time to make sure that they are again up and running and doing their job, the additional role and the added role, because we're expanding every day. Our industry is expanding every day, so we are supporting them in that case. We do not have a structured program like the others were saying as of now, but we are in a good shape right now. The skill gaps is an issue I would like to address. So I feel there should be more certification programs which we are working on right now, wherein people can go through these kind of programs, wherein they can develop themselves and find out where they are lagging behind, because not everybody would be lagging behind in the same areas. So because there are people from different kind of departments, and they need to upskill themselves in different areas. Okay, so those kind of programs actually help and support them to bring them back themselves back into the show, and push themselves to do better every day. And also the mentality of the management and their peers are very important. Like many of you pointed out, that the acceptance when one is back, not to look at that person in a different perspective altogether. Okay, the person is different in some way. Okay, the person has come back after a gap. So those are things which we need to inculcate in ourselves as an organization, to make sure that the person feels comfortable and not looked at in a different way altogether. Okay, so these are certain areas which we are developing as as organizations, and I think there's a long way to go from here. But still, the fact that we are discussing on this is again a great thing, that okay, we are thinking on these lines, which is amazing, I feel.
Great, great. So it's good to be hearing from a company of like manufacturing, doing that from a returnee point. Aarti, yes, you would like to add here.
Yep, sure. So, I echo what Ajay said. It's very much important to upskill, and acknowledge the talent that is joining us. So, we in Mastercard actually has evolved in a way that we realize whenever a returnee is joining, and being a technology company also, every time the skill gets obsolete, right? So it's always very much important for us to be up on the game. So we do provide a lot of opportunities, to our people to get themselves upskilled, whether it is for them, they want to upskill in their own domain, or they want to take a cross-functional skills, learn, gain that knowledge and explore their career opportunities outside, their own domain. So both options are open. So we are running programs like Women in Tech, which specifically focus on, the people leader skills, as well as realizing the women returnees, how important it is, or how they can make their own careers within the individual domain capacity, being a subject matter experts. Example, we also have a programs on degree and academy, which are our own learning platform, which help them to gain those skill sets while they are doing their learning their professional journeys after returning back. So small programs like this, where the employee is free to choose whatever they want to do. We also help them to gain further education. If somebody has done a degree and want to do a master's, on the very first day of joining, they can explore that option, and then they can enroll themselves for such higher educations. So all such actually programs or policies help our people to be on the up on the game and gain their knowledge, aspirations, and align their career path within Mastercard. So that's what I want to add.
Sure, Jalpa, would you like to add here?
Yeah, I don't think there's been dearth of programs from various organizations in terms of driving this. The idea is to all of us to acknowledge how successful companies have been to do that, right? We still have a very long way of getting this. Otherwise, this discussion wouldn't be there today, right? All of us have a lot of work to do. And I think while we continue doing these programs, which is great, we keep monitoring success. We see how we can get better year on year when we're running such programs. I think in something as simple as each employee in your organization refer to one returnee for such programs kinds of help, push your current base to get somebody who they know, who they feel are fit for a program like this. Sometimes, these programs are running where I have a lot of friends who are trying to return to work as well, right? And for them, it is overwhelming at some point, having so many discussions. At times, after a break, you're not sure what you want to do. You know what your core skills are, but you don't know how well you can apply, right? So it's important that you use your existing employee base, use their relevance, and use their network in getting you some reference to run programs like this. I think you need to kind of give that baton back to the employee base, saying, get people who think and blend into this culture.
Yeah, absolutely, Jalpa. I think we also are on the same path of supporting organization on this long journey of being there, right? Great. So I think the third section, which is also very important when it comes to the work flexibility, right? I heard a lot of you saying how post-COVID or the COVID after scenario has made a lot of organization coming with the returnee program. So flexibility is definitely a cornerstone of successful re-entry, right? So how companies are customizing the flexible work arrangement to accommodate the unique need of returnee women and ensuring the work-life integration. If you'd like to add points here, maybe Aarti, if you would like to go ahead with this.
Sure. One more study revealed that in last 5 years, around 1 lakh plus women employees left the organization, and one of the major need for them to leave the professional journey is a caregiving, right? Whether they want to take care of their child or maybe an elderly care or any personal commitment they want to prioritize on. I think, with that, I also see that as an opportunity post-COVID, especially when the hybrid culture was more of a normal, a term that we all have started using it. So pouring in more flexibility, what we at Mastercard did, I'll give you a few examples, like we have a hybrid work environment where we are supposed to come 2-3 days in a week, which is more of a flexibility. In case if we have any personal commitments, we are allowed to give that as a priority. We have Flex Fridays, which says that after second half of the Friday, if you have anything to prioritize, whether it is on personal or professional thing, you are absolutely allowed to do that. We also have policies like caregiver in terms of Care 9, which is for the parents, and this is actually for the gender agnostic, right? Whether it is a mother or a father, where we give that opportunity, for those individuals to go through, enroll themselves in the program, and then, get all these required support at their initial days of parenting when they also are, exploring their parenthood. So I think the flexibility has to be normal if we really want to, utilize this entire pool, which will help them also to balance their personal professional life. I think COVID has also made us realize how important it is to balance the work life. Nowadays people are giving more importance to their mental as well as physical health. So we have rather realize this, and we are pouring more flexibility. We also have a policy called work from anywhere, which is a 20 days flexibility. If I have somebody at my hometown where I really have to go and give equal importance to, I have that flexibility rather than not to apply leave. Go, anywhere in the world, work from that particular place and equally contribute and balance my personal professional life. I personally feel flexibility is much more important in today's scenario, whether it is, again, for a woman returnee, it will definitely add on because their priority is to balance the personal life. And it also gives them a motivation to join back the organization and their professional journey, while it has to be gender agnostic is what I feel.
Yes, correctly mentioned. I think this is just not the ask of a returnee when it comes to flexibility. Great to know that. Ruchika, if you'd like to add.
I think first part, I'm absolutely aligned. Even before we get into flexibility, it is to break the stereotype that caregiving has to be done by women. When we start with that, then the policies that we draft will be very different. So for example, at Myntra, we have 2 weeks of family care leave. You can use it for your children. You can use it for your parents. You can use it for, persons with disability who are your siblings, etc. That's up to you. So what we offer is choice. And we are trying to break that stereotype that it is for returnee women or it is for women, because that itself brings the, onus on the women that only she is responsible for it. So that's the first part of trying to break that stereotype. The second part, particularly if we look at the returnee women, I think they have a certain, number of years, etc. And in our returnee program, we specifically focus on the long-term gap, right? So more than 1 year. We understand that for a long time of their life, they've given it their all to their families, or to their personal concerns, and then expecting them to be back within a day is tough. So what we also do is for the 6-month program that we have, they have the choice again to decide if they want to work from home, if they want to come to office, if they want to come to office only once during those 6 months. So again, not, imposing a certain style for them, because some people want that collaboration. They want to feel the office again. Some people say, oh, but it is tough for me to get out of the home right now. Enabling that flexibility of working from home basis their need, right? The third piece is around work schedule. I think it came up in another question, but there are people who have to pick their children from home. There are people who have to nurse their children, right? Again, gender agnostic, or even a father can go and pick up their child. So allowing that flexibility in the work schedule, where you can take a couple of hours off during the day and then you choose to work during the night or whatever way you want to work. But simply arranging that with your manager and then having the organization enable that, and then sensitizing the teams that you're not doing them a favor. You're simply enabling work from, people who are extremely talented and from people who are extremely good to your company in the long run. I think those three types of flexibility is what we look at. And but largely, I think as Aarati also mentioned, breaking the stereotype that flexibility is only for women. I think that's where we start. Flexibility is for everyone. Everyone needs to take care of their family and themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we all will agree to this. Shubha, if you can hear from you.
Yeah, sure. So I think like the others have mentioned, women could be in different stages of their life during their time off period, right? Keeping that in mind, at Epsilon, again, as an example, we have support programs like many other organizations do, and these have evolved at Epsilon. It's not like we knew what was the magic on day one. So looking for the way, we're always looking for ways and approaches to be flexible. Couple of things that we have done is, one is the mental health and wellness programs that we have on an ongoing basis. Childcare facility, we have a tie-up with a couple of daycare facilities where the women can drop off their kids either near the office or near their homes. And then we also have vendors for elder care that we have a tie-up with. Hybrid model, every organization is doing it today, and we do that at Epsilon as well. And Work Your World, like Aarati mentioned, we have that at Epsilon where 6 weeks in a year, we can work from anywhere in the world, right? And extended remote work for mat leave returnees. On a case-by-case basis, we have been very flexible with returning women. And days of rest. In fact, just yesterday, we had a day of rest where it's a company-wide paid holiday. And I think all of these have really contributed to Epsilon being one of the top 100 great places to work. We won the award last year in September. So I think there are some really good programs that we run at Epsilon, like many other organizations do, Anu.
Good to know that, Shubha. Urvashi, would you like to add here?
Yeah, I'm very much aligned with what Ruchika said in terms of, work-life flexibility. So whenever we talk about work-life balance or work-life flexibility, I definitely want to always encourage that we all as change agent should reiterate again and again that flexibility is not about, doing less work or not be available for important tasks. It is only about distributing your time throughout the day and completing your task at the end, planning in a different way rather, because you need a little more flexibility. We as an organization were giving flexibility even before, pandemic. And during the pandemic, all industry have seen that the productivity of all employees have gone up. So now when we talk about, giving flexibility to women returnee, because we have launched this returnship program recently this year, and I think ours is the youngest program among all of us. So our leaders have these questions: what else they need, what other kind of flexibility, because we are already very flexible organization. Then at that moment, it's it's our responsibility to make sure that it's not about giving them extra leaves or giving them lesser time to work, something like that, but a different kind of a planning for them, a different adjustment where the team is required to be very inclusive, very understanding, and make sure that we showcase this as a culture of the organization or the team, and it won't impact the returnee woman that she's asking for extra favors. So it should be a culture of the team, and everybody should understand that. So periodic sensitization of all employees is definitely necessary, which we are doing from the day one of any of the new hire. We talk about the kind of DEI initiatives we take, what our returnship program intentions are, and how our leadership take this. So important role is of leaders. They should embrace these culture. They should showcase this in their behavior, and then other employees can embrace them as well. Thank you.
I think Urvashi, you correctly mentioned it's the ask of the flexibility, not a favor, right? Correctly mentioned. Wait, Ajay, would you like to add there?
Absolutely. So love what Ruchika mentioned in terms of the flexibility part, right? But trust your employees. I think that's very important. We all learned during COVID that even when they are not in office, they are much more productive. And the moment you give the flexibility factor to them, they are actually a lot more loyal to the organization, right? So take off the restrictions. And when we are writing policies specifically around flexibility and benefits, bring all facets of people into the equation, even the family members, because automatically they are the ones who will give additional inputs in terms of having the right safety. All of us have our own constraints, and some would have aging parents, some would have old pets at home, some would have actually kind of have additional studies and extra studies which are happening in the evening. So everybody has got their own constraints. So the flexibility and the policies has to be written around each of our lives, right? So predominantly try to get all inputs and figure out your benefits and policies around that, and automatically it becomes a lot more easier for every facet, right? I'm talking about even male employees, female employees, anybody wants to return back to work becomes a lot more easier. So and that's what we have been trying to do in terms of getting everybody's opinion on certain things before we actually kind of get into real writing of policies and getting these programs up and running. So just want to put that on the table as a thought.
Sure, thanks, Ajay. Harsha, would you like to add here?
Yes, I just want to say that more flexibility. I think we spoke enough about flexibility, which is all amazing, and all of us said this, but Ruchika loved what you said. Absolutely loved that, and that's what I think there is the right. If an organization could have an attitude, that's the attitude that organizations need to have. So accommodation is everybody has a different accommodation need, and that's what we need to give to any employee, right? And anybody who comes to our organization. And that goes with the returnee as well, right? Whatever is a need, we just take care of that need. So whoever is a returnee, whatever is that accommodation, I just need to take a break. This is what I need. And this is how my life was when I was in that career break. And I just want to get accustomed to that life. And I just need some time to get back to it. That's about it. Even if it means I need flexibility, even if it means that I just want to work 8 hours at work, I want to work 8 hours at home, or whatever that means. That's what we just need to, that's what most of us are trying to do. I think that's pretty much is the need of the hour, and that's what organizations are trying to do today. And I would say that that's what we are trying to do today. And in the previous question, what we said, when we were talking about the whole spectrum of the program, one of the key elements of our program, that I spoke so dearly about, is that the cohort community, that is a very key element of this program that is in Oracle, is this particular community is where the peers will give you a unique, or rather a returner, a unique sense of support. And that support includes all this, right? Where the coaching is not only from the work style or how it is, but how you can be there for, this whole, time that you're trying to get accustomed to the culture of the organization. So yes, I think those are some of the things that organizations can be having the right attitude for, can be a friend to a returner. I think that's something that we can do as employers to the right employees that we are trying to bring in. One very important element that I'll say is, I think, which was already earlier said, that when we do something like this, and when we are doing the right things, the opinion leadership that we create, and I think Ajay said this, that when we create the right opinion leadership, I think we are actually set for the many cohorts of programs going forward. And then we actually attract the right employees. We really don't have to curate any programs in the future, because then we create that culture for years to come. And, for the right employees, we attract the diverse set of employees in the organization. It becomes a natural process.
Sure, thanks, Harsha. Bhavana, if you'd like to add here.
Yeah, I think lots of very valid and relatable points that have already been made, right? For me personally, I think one of the things which resonated a lot with was about flexibility, not just for returning women or flexibility for new parents, but flexibility for every employee. I think also another point that Ruchika made, walk away from the thought process of the mother or the women in the house being the primary caregiver, right? Today, I think we have We have fathers who are more fluid in their roles of as being caregivers, whether they have to go to work and manage the pickup and drop off or manage food, whatever it is, right? At Visa, for instance, we also have a paternity break, which is for 2 months. So we're ensuring that even the father is getting time to bond with the child, time to spend time to also sort of maybe fulfill his responsibility as a father in that sense. So, and we have like 90+% of our new fathers making use of it. So that's I think that's a great, again, a great shift that we've seen in society. And I think as people, professionals, we should all appreciate the place that we are at today, right? For me, I think the other part was how do we give this flexibility specifically for the returnee women? I think most organizations today acknowledge that they've come back from an area of life where they were giving a lot of more priority to things that were not their career. So I think it's also the ask of the support system back at work to give them sort of the confidence to say, hey, you know what, it's okay to not have 100% of your things align 100% of the time. It's okay for you to draw, and maybe it's that's when we need to make sure that we sort of finding the right mentors for them, right? Or I think there was a conversation around finding people who've been on this journey to sort of be there as just a listening ear. How do we ensure that they walk away with the idea that not everything has to be perfect 100% of their time? They've prioritized point A over the last several months or years that they've been on a break. It's okay for them to prioritize their career a little bit today, while also getting the support that they need to make sure that everything else is in place. I think for me, not only is that flexibility important, but also the messaging that, it's okay for them to ask for help. It's okay for them to do things that, they needed to do all this while, but somebody else can do it. I think they're both equal parts of the picture for me.
I think I totally agree with what Bhavana you mentioned. It's both, whether it's at your professional level you ask for help or at a personal level as well. Great, thank you so much. Jalpa, would you like to add there?
Yes, I think, a lot is spoken on flexibility. I don't think flexibility today can be looked as a returnee only thing, right? Today, flexibility is a need for every person who's there in the organization. One thing what Cisco kind of believes in is an outcome-based approach rather than a clock in, clock out culture, I may be most effective when I work from 6 a.m. in the morning to say 2 p.m. But I have somebody who likes to start their day at 10 a.m. in the morning. Sometimes when you're trying to be flexible individually for employees, as a program, it may fail. Because all of us have large organization that needs to scale to a large number of people. Your processes and policies need to apply all across. So there's no biasness among people who are working with each other as well. And that is why I feel that when you're looking at a goal-based or an outcome-based approach in trying of, attaching somebody's success in an organization, more than the time in which they're coming in and coming out, which is a really important way to kind of look at it. In the other way, I have, while a lot of us talk about how we can support, I think another way we can also support is for employees or the returnees who have not been able to make it to your program, who've not qualified, is to give a feedback mechanism. How do you go back to them that they've come and interviewed, they've had these conversations, but it has not worked out, and why it has not worked out, and give them a feedback. So the next time when they're kind of applying to a similar role or a similar program, they are better prepared to it. A lot of times, they're kind of ghosted after that whole process as to whether it has really worked or not. I feel it is important that you reach out to them and tell them what's worked and what's not. Being transparent is very important here.
Great, thanks, Jalpa. So Hannah, would you like to add here?
Very, nice points have come up. The first thing that I would like to say is, like Ajay said, that trusting your employees is very important. And also Jalpa said the same, that, focusing on the quality of work than the quantity or the amount of hours put in. So that is very important. And again, what Ruchika said, that flexibility is for everyone. So when we, give flexibility to our entire workforce, we don't need to only focus on the women, because when there are working parents, as in both of them are working, it's important that both of them have the work flexibility, so that if one is not available, the other is filling in for that. And that is when we create a great culture, and that is when we create employees who are more loyal and will stick to you, as in we create better retention also in an organization. I think it's all interconnected somewhere, and that is how we should, work on our policies. And obviously after COVID, things have changed drastically, though in manufacturing we do not have a hybrid kind of work culture anymore, after proper working has started. But yes, we do have options of flexi hours, wherein people can go out early if they have something to do in their personal level, etc. So these things are coming up for us, and I think that's great.
Great, thanks, Suhana. Speakers, as we head towards the last few minutes of this discussion, we had got few of the candidate questions, and as I read those of the questions, most of them are from the reskilling point, that if they're transitioning from one industry to another industry, if they're coming back after a long career break, how are those addressed by organization? So if you like to add the points there. Urvashi, if you can add, maybe you can start with that.
Yeah, definitely. So transitioning from one industry to different industry is, it's very overwhelming. And I think that it's a great way to restart, because you will also get to know, you will start as a fresh, and you will be enthusiastic to work. Plus, organization will be very flexible to invest time when you showcase that you are interested to work on a new thing. But to showcase that to an organization, that why you want to switch your career to different industry, what homework you did yourself, what effort you put on yourself to upskill yourself. Did you do any crash courses? Did you do some quick learnings over internet? How much you are prepared to come up to a new industry? That showcasing is really very important to make, to give a confidence to the organization that yes, you are looking forward for this new opportunity, and you want to work on a new environment where you will not be bringing a lot of your previous experience, but you are open, you are new, you are kind of a very fresher mindset, where organization can give you opportunity to upskill yourself, plus utilize your skills to get the work done in a better way. So yeah, I think organizations are open, but yes, definitely candidates have to do some upskillings, do some homework on their own, to give a confidence to the other side of the people sitting on the other side of the table, to to spend time and energy on you to upskill yourself.
Sure. Thanks, Urvashi. Aarati, would you like to add here?
Sure. So I feel that's a great opportunity, and unlike 10 years prior, we were very keen to focus on what we has started our journey with. But nowadays, let's keep this returnship program aside, just to make you all realize, and mostly because it's an HR fraternity, all of us knows that nowadays people, try to explore their own potential in terms of what they have chosen and what they want to aspire to be in the next role. So it's very, very natural. And I think the organization has also equally accepted the cross-functional skills that people are now trying to gain, and most of the people, especially within the age of between 30 to 45 and all, have realized that, I really have explored this part of my profile, then I want to explore something else and go and push my boundaries. It's very, very natural. So if any returnee wants to aspire, a career in cross-functional field, I think it's open. All you required is the confidence, the depth of whatever you have learned during the break, and then how you are presenting yourself in terms of the value addition that you're going to bring on the table. I think these three aspects, any one of us can nail the opportunity which is in front of me.
Sure. Harsha, if you'd like to add.
Yes. So let me say that the world, I mean, we are moving towards a world, the organizations and everybody to be more inclusive, to be more open. But I must say that the world is cutthroat and competitive. We all know that. I mean, we are a part of the same ecosystem. So one, getting back to the workforce, like Urvashi said, being prepared is extremely important. And I'm saying prepared, it does not mean that I am absolutely and that kills the whole purpose, right? When I'm saying this, that I am having exactly the same experience, the same skills that somebody who is not a returner has. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying being prepared means I am following an XYZ organization. For example, I'm following Oracle and I'm aspiring to be a part of, say, Oracle or 1 or 2 or 3 organizations. Then I know that what kind of skills Oracle is hiring, what kind of roles I'm aspiring for. That means I should be preparing for those kind of roles, or I should at least know. So at least, yes, those basic things I should know. Secondly, what am I doing since the last few weeks, months, to get to that point, right? So that second thing is important, right? The third thing is that there are fungible skills and there are relevant skills. There are desired skills and there are open skills. So all of those categories of skills we need to be aware of, and what are the roles that are open to be hiring any of these categories of skills. And then there are obviously all of the inclusive, diverse skills that I spoke about in the beginning that add on to all of the relevant skills and make it a huge package and a whole package of you as an individual. So how can you become smart and add on to your profile, make a very, very smart profile and make yourself marketable? In today's world, the first thing that anybody needs to do, anybody, returner or not, is to make yourself marketable of what you already have. And then what are the +1, +2, and +3 that you can add on it? So I think those are the kind of things that need to be, added on to upskilled, made yourself. So making yourself relevant is important more than spending time, spending years to wait until you get there, because that is never possible. You're never going to get there. None of us are never going to reach to that aspiring point that we think we are going to. So yes, I think contemporary skills, relevant skills, staying relevant is important.
Thanks, Harsha. Totally agreeing to that. Neha, would you like to add here?
I'll just add a very quick point, and the reason why I'm doing this is because, again, as I said, it's a very nascent program that we've been doing, and we've been contributing a lot in terms of preparing our candidates who are coming to the pool. Two things that we look out for is communication skills, meaning that, whatever you've done, you're able to talk us through that. Nobody's going to do a favor by having you on board. So it's very important that you're able to showcase what you've done, irrespective whether it's an entrepreneurial program, journey you've had, or it's it's an NGO that you would have joined during your break, but you're able to talk us through what you've done with confidence is one thing that every organization will would like to see. And I think the second is, if you've done something, why you've done it, in terms of, let's say if you've done a crash course, what's the relevance of it and how would you be able to contribute through that is something that we look for. Instead of doing 10 crash courses, even if you've done 2 and you're able to talk us through that, I think that just wins the game, and makes the other person on the other side of the table invest in you, is how we look at it.
Sure, great. Thank you so much, Neha. I believe we are almost running over time. I think it's always that when we have such great speakers, such great topic, it's the time is very short, right? So great. I would really want to thank everybody here to be sharing their experience, their points. I learned a lot. I'm sure the audience are also they also had a great learning here. I request everybody, all the speakers, will take a quick screenshot. We will also be sharing these screenshot with you all. Plus, we will also tag you on the social media, right? Yes, I request all the speakers to be on video. We take a quick screenshot. Done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for your valuable time. It was great and lovely hearing all of you.
Thank you,
Anu.
everyone. It
Thank
was
you
really
all.
nice.
Thanks,
Nice to meet
everybody.
you all
Thank you.
virtually.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.